Knowledge for Men, episode 16. Welcome to knowledgeformen.com, where boys turn into men, where men turn into leaders, into lions, the ferocious few who stand strong, a place where you grow to become the man you were born to be. It's time to take massive action towards the life you want. Get the health, get the relationships, business, and career you've always dreamed of. Achieve a level of success and happiness that you've been searching for so many years. Life has given you enough, and it's time to take a stand and take full control of your life. Stand with us as we interview the most inspiring and successful leaders to give you real-world advice to crush life and awaken the sleeping giant inside of you. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download today at kfmbook.com. There's over 100,000 titles to choose from for your smartphone, tablet, or computer. It's a perfect way to listen to your favorite books in the car, in the gym, or at home. Check out kfmbook.com to start learning in your downtime. All right, guys, I'm here with James Altucher, a hedge fund manager, entrepreneur, and author. He has founded or co-founded over 20 companies, including Reset Inc. and StockTicker. He's a frequent contributor to the TechCrunch, New York Times, Financial Times, The Street, and Seeking Alpha. He's published 11 books, and most recently, Choose Yourself. James, I'm happy to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
James, go ahead and kickstart the show with your favorite success quote.
If I have no expectations, then I will always easily exceed them.
So you're always winning no matter what.
Yeah, I'm happy all the time. I'm always exceeding my expectations. There can't be anything better than that.
Yeah, with low expectations, you're never let down, or you're just going to be really surprised with the results that happen. Now, James, go ahead and share with us your story, your journey in the last 10 years or so, and how you got started with what you do.
Sure. So it's even a little longer than 10 years. I had a company that made websites. So I did all the software, all the design, everything for mostly entertainment companies. So I did like all the record labels, a lot of the movie studios, a lot of the TV channels, TV shows. And then I sold the company, made a lot of money. And then suddenly in one summer, I was so stupid and I lost all the money. And it's not like I lost it on paper. Like I had the money in cash and I just either spent it or gambled it away and lost all of it. I lost about 15 million in all. And I'm not bragging by saying that because I literally ended up with about $100 in my ATM account.
And what were you doing? How did you lose that money? What happened?
Well, when you make money, I suddenly thought I was like this super genius, when in reality, making money only proves that you know how to make money in one particular set of circumstances at one particular time. So I wasn't a genius in anything and started investing in all of these companies. I bought myself this penthouse apartment. I completely rebuilt it. I started investing in a lot of private startups and in stocks and day trading. And I simply just lost the money. The market collapsed. Everything collapsed. So everything in my life collapsed. I had to sell my house. I had to move 80 miles from New York City into a house that was 1/10 the size of what I was living in. And I didn't have a job. There was no way for me to get a job, really. And I didn't know what to do at all. I was so depressed. I didn't leave my house for 3 months afterwards. And I had children to feed. Nothing was going for me. You ever have that situation where you feel like just nothing you do was going for you? Everything was happening badly. And I remember I went up to one store owner in the local area where I lived, and I bought some Christmas gift or whatever. And I even said to her, do you ever feel like everybody in the world is just negative and sad? And I think she was just looking at me like, I hope this guy leaves my store as quickly as possible. And then I just finally, though, I had to do something. I had to, or I was going to die. And I even literally considered, it would be better for me to be dead and have my kids benefit from the life insurance policy than for me to be alive, because it was just too painful to figure out what to do next after having all of that money and lost it. And I felt like I could have done such good with it. And it was just so depressing for me to realize that I just totally blew it. I won the lottery and I'm never going to win the lottery again is what I thought. So so to make a long story short, I had to rebuild, and I did. And I built, over time, I built several companies. I sold a couple of companies, and then I had money again, and then I lost it all again. And I lost my house again. I had bought another house and I lost it. and I got a divorce, lost my family, and I had to rebuild again. So finally, I had to take a step back and say, look, I can't keep doing this. I'm getting older, and I have to finally sort of say what worked for me on the way up and what can I avoid so I don't go down again. And so I've been applying what worked for me, and it's really worked. When you conscientiously apply these things, at least for me, it's worked phenomenally well, and I keep applying it. Like it's a daily practice because I have to practice it every day.
So you made a lot of money, lost it, built new businesses, made that money back again, then lost it, and then made it all back again. So you got sick and tired of this roller coaster lifestyle, and you look back at what was working for you when you were successful, and you created something, a ritual you do every day known as your daily practice. Can you share with the audience what this is and how it can benefit them?
Yeah, so the way I discovered it was just basically by saying, well, what worked for me when I was on the way up? What kind of got my focus and motivation going and got my ideas going and so on. And so basically what it was, I had to be healthy in four areas, each one equally important. So physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So by physical, it's very simple. Just we all know what it is. Eat well, exercise, and sleep well. Sleep is very important. It's more important than most people think. Some people think, oh, I only need 3 hours a night of sleep, and that's just BS. All of those people end up in mental institutions. And if you don't eat well, then your energy only has a few places to go in your body. It can go to your brain, it can go to your digestive system, it can go to your heart. And so if you don't eat well, all of your energy is going to your digestive system all the time, and you get sick and die. And so you can't be productive to society or yourself or your family if you're sick and you die. And exercising, of course, improves metabolism, strengthens increases the energy you have in your body, and so on. The energy is not infinite. It has to be replenished. And so good food, good sleeping, and good exercising do it. Emotionally, you have to not hang out with people who are bad for you. So you have to hang out with people who love you and inspire you and who you inspire and who you respect and so on. And that gives you a lot of energy. Mentally, very important, and most people don't do this, but we all have what I call an idea muscle. Let's say you get into an accident and you're in bed for 2 weeks. Well, in just 2 weeks, your leg muscles would have atrophied so much that you'll actually need physical therapy to walk again. And that's just in 2 weeks for your leg muscles. The idea muscle is the same way, and most of us have atrophied our idea muscles. So we need to have idea therapy. And the way to do that is just simply get a pad and write down 10 ideas a day. And you have to do it every single day. And it takes about 6 months of idea therapy to rebuild that idea muscle. But at that point, you become like an idea machine. Like the ideas are just flowing unbelievably. It's like magic how many ideas you have all the time. And it's not like just big business ideas. It's small, tiny ideas to just make your life better in every aspect. So it's very useful. And then finally, spiritual health is very important. And that doesn't mean pray to God or pray to Buddha or Jesus or Allah or whoever you believe in. It just simply means being grateful for what you have in your life and surrendering the results, knowing that you've done the right preparation so you can surrender the results to whatever you believe in, even if you believe in nothing, just having a sense of surrender. And there's no area that's any more important than the other three areas. So people ask me, well, is the idea muscle the most important? And I say no, because you won't have the energy for ideas if you're not sleeping well.
So the daily practice is a way to live a healthy, well-balanced lifestyle. It improved your focus, motivation, and kept new ideas coming in, so you found you had to be healthy in 4 key areas in order to be happy, eliminate unhappiness, and make each day as smooth as possible. They were physical, emotional, mentally, and spiritual. Physically was eating well, exercising, and sleeping well, something that a lot of people seem to forget. And emotional, hang around positive, loving, motivating, and inspiring people. Basically, stay away from the negative people, the people who bring you down. And mentally, your idea muscle, something that you have inside of you that can help bring new ideas into your business and your life. And you can actually exercise this muscle by writing down 10 new ideas each day. Kind of like going to the gym. You put in your reps, you get stronger, you get better ideas. And spiritual, being grateful, meditating, and surrendering the results of the future. I really like how all areas are of equal importance. Not one is better than the other. And James, you said you had a set of things that didn't work for you, that led to your failures. Can you share with the listeners what those were?
Well, really, what didn't work for me was doing the opposite of anything I say on the daily practice or not eating well. And part of not eating well means, drinking. Every year, the government posts what are the top 10 things that have killed people in the United States the prior year. So, heart disease, strokes, Alzheimer's, accidents, suicide, kidney disease, and so on. So, if you really want to live longer, don't do any of the anti-aging BS stuff that is constantly pushed on people. Just simply avoid the things that cause the top 10 killers, and you won't die from any of the top 10 killers. So alcohol and smoking cause almost all of the top 10 causes of death in the US. So if you simply don't drink alcohol and you don't smoke, you're going to be healthier and live a longer life. I'm not saying this in any kind of ethical or moralistic way. It's just a fact. So anyway, that's one of the things. Another thing is I wouldn't read or come up with ideas. I would figure, okay, well, I made money. I don't need to come up with ideas anymore. And so the first thing that would happen after that is I would start losing all my money. Or I wouldn't be grateful. I would say, okay, well, I made $10 million. Now I need $100 million. So I wouldn't be grateful for the $10 million. And so what would happen? I would lose the 10 million. So again, I would just do the opposite of the daily practice consistently, and that's how I would lose all my money.
So you look at the top 10 things that kill people every year, and the top two is drinking and smoking. And don't do any of those things. Do the daily practice, which is working on your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health, and you'll be good.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, that's why all the four work together. Because once you start slipping on one, you're going to start slipping on all four.
It's your foundation for success.
Yes.
And when did you have this aha moment where you learned about the daily practice?
I think it was this moment where I had lost money for the second, third, fourth time and finally disconnected from my family in every way, shape, and form, was losing yet another house, was losing all my jobs, was completely unemployable. Didn't really have any friends I can call because I was scared to tell them all of this was happening to me. And I just was thinking to myself, I can't believe I am on the floor again in this situation. And it was just like a stroke of lightning that hit me where I just have to, this is where 40 years of life, or however long it was, 40 years of life have gotten me to this point. So that means everything I had been doing basically to these 40 years, all of it added up to being on the floor right here. And so I needed to make a big change that was completely different from the James of the 40 years. Now, that doesn't mean forget about that particular James, but I needed to be a completely new James in order to survive and thrive for the next 40 years. So that's where I'm at.
And James, from those low experiences and hitting rock bottom, what were some of the biggest lessons you've learned through this experience in making millions, losing millions over the last decade?
I think you have to learn how to build almost like an inner core that you trust for yourself. So everybody's acting in their own self-interest. So when you make money, all these people come out and they become your friends all of a sudden, and they show you all these opportunities, but they're acting out of their self-interest. They're not really trying to help you make money. They're trying to make money for themselves. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not judging them. That's why it's important to hang out with very good people, because if you hang out with very bad people, then it's almost a guarantee that their self-interest is going to be actually to your self-detriment. So the better the people you surround yourself with, the better their self-interest is going to align with your self-interest. And it's very important to then have to build that discernment where you know these are the people I should say yes to, and these are the people I should say no to. And here's the best way for me to do what I want to do. Like, I should never feel guilty saying no to things I don't want to do. Because if I say yes to the things I don't want to do, I'm going to end up resenting the people I say yes to. I'm going to end up doing a bad job or losing money. And I'm going to end up hating myself. I'm going to end up thinking, why did I say yes again and waste another 1 hour, 1 day, 1 month, 1 year of my life doing this? And the yeses add up. The no's don't add up because no is no. But yes means you're going to devote either time or money to something, and those things add up, and ultimately your life is gone after too many yeses.
So when you're saying yes to things you don't want to do, you're not going to be fully committed or passionate about what you're doing. And you may even resent those people you're saying yes to all the time. It's going to be taking up a lot of your time. So say no to things you don't want to do to respect yourself, your time, because it's all finite. And James, can you expand more on this topic of saying no?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are very nice, for instance, and they're afraid to say no. So they say yes because they don't want to hurt other people's feelings, or they want people to like them, or they're expected to say yes because society told them to say yes. A classic example is saying yes to going to a family member's house at Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever. But in reality, often we want to just say no to these things. And so I think people should practice saying no. I'm sure there's many things. A lot of people can relate to this, saying yes too much. So find an opportunity where you're saying yes a little bit too much to things you don't want to do, and just practice saying no. So one way you can practice is say, I don't have a yes or a no. I need 5 days to think about this, or I need 5 minutes to think about this. So one way to practice saying no is to delay. Another way to practice saying no is to think to yourself, okay, I'm going to say no 3 times. So I'm going to say, no, I need to think about this. No, I need to think about what's best for me. And no, I need to learn a little bit more. So have 3 different reasons for saying no. And then see what comes back. See how people push back at you before you finally say yes. Because maybe this is almost like a negotiating technique. Maybe your final yes comes a lot more at your terms than your yes would have been if you had said yes right away. So no and yes are a function of supply and demand. So the value of your words and the value of your actions is just like the value of any other thing in any kind of market. There's demand for you and there's supply of you. If you decrease the supply of you by saying no more, then your value goes up. And I think that's an important thing for people to remember. It's not that you will be liked or disliked more. Forget about that for a second, because we don't really know what other people think about you anyway. But we do know that if you remove the supply of you for good reasons, so you can replenish your energy and so on, then your value will go up. It's the law of the universe. It's the law of supply and demand.
So practice saying no more, and it will increase your value. It's not about being liked or disliked more, but about people valuing your time more. It's really important. It's finite. You don't have an infinite amount of time. It is limited. And when you say no more, you have this time for yourself to do the things that matter to you, such as the daily practice, which only further increases your value.
Right. Like, let's say someone says to you, Andy, I'd really like to have a meeting with you. And you say, no, I'd really need to learn a little bit more first. And so now they say, oh my God, he said no to me. So they give you a lot of information. And they say, okay, now will you come to a meeting? And you say, no, I'd like to learn a little bit more about you first. Not just your business idea, but about you and what you plan to offer me. What's the benefits to me? So now suddenly they think, oh my gosh, this guy's really valuable. I have to come up with all sorts of benefits for him to say yes to me. And then they ask you again. You say, no, I really need to know what are the other people that are involved? How have you been exceeding your expectations? What's your past been like? And so now they have to deliver again to you. So you have all this extra information. They have offers on the table already for you. And now finally you say yes, and you're walking into a situation where you're already a winner, because you've said no 3 times, and now the 4th time you say yes, and you're walking into a situation where you've already won. And it's not like they've lost, they've won too, because they have you now. So it's a win-win to say no 3 times and then a yes.
And how have you applied some of these lessons into your everyday life about saying no, and what were the benefits to you?
Honestly, I've made more money in the past 4 years using this one simple idea than I've ever made before in my life. So it's win-win. It's not taking advantage of anyone. But if you use no appropriately, you increase your value in the universe. You increase your value to the people you're dealing with, because they know that they can respect the time you're giving them, that you don't just say yes to anything, and they will make it worth your while to say yes. And believe me, it becomes worth your while, or else you'll say no, because that's what you've already communicated to them in so many ways.
I like that. For the rest of the day, I'm going to say no to everyone, no matter what they're asking. I'm just going to practice and see how this works out. I'll have to shoot you an email and send you the results. But now, James, we've entered the knowledge round. Are you ready?
Sure.
For you, the listeners of the Knowledge for Men podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their awesome service. And you know what? Something I've noticed after interviewing hundreds of successful people is that they all read a ton of books. If you want to be successful, you've got to educate yourself. I don't always have time to sit down and read a book, so I personally recommend listening to audiobooks in your car, in the gym, or on the go. You can pick up for free any one of my favorite best-selling books like How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins, Mastery by Robert Greene, Choose Yourself by James Altucher, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, or any other audiobook you want. Audible has over 100,000 titles to choose from. To download your free audiobook today, go to kfmbook.com. Again, that's kfmbook.com for your free audiobook today. Start learning, growing, and becoming the man you want to become now. Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime. James, how would you explain building a business to a newcomer or a wantrepreneur?
Don't think about money. Think about a value or service you could provide that somebody actually is willing to pay for. Now, I know that's sort of broad because we can get more specific if you want. But again, think about some value you can offer today that somebody would be willing to pay for. And that's how, and then suddenly you're in business.
I like it. James, what was holding you back from becoming the successful entrepreneur that you are today?
The only thing that was holding me back was, again, not doing, I know I sound like a broken record, not doing what I recommend in this daily practice was holding me back from success. It simply meant that I had less ideas than my competitors because we are in a competitive universe and I didn't have enough ideas.
And this is a little off topic, but I read that you were just calling up businesses and giving them free ideas, free ways to innovate and create in their business. And sometimes you were just getting new clients from doing this. Can you share with the audience what was happening there?
Yeah, so there was one time when this was after actually I had lost everything. I needed to get back on my feet and came up with a list of about 40 people I wanted to have lunch with or have a coffee with. And I said, hey, I'll buy you coffee to like 40 people. And these guys were all billionaires and they didn't need me to buy a coffee for them. So nobody responded. They didn't even respond. They didn't even get a form response. And so what I did was I researched everybody and I started coming up with ideas for everyone else and sending them the ideas and saying, hey, you don't need to contact me. Just take these ideas. They're yours for free. And let's say 2 out of the 40 people responded. And of those 2, I ended up doing very good business with both of them.
Giving value and hoping for nothing in return. That's such a great way to prospect and find new business. And moving on, what's the best advice you've ever received from a mentor?
I've received so much good advice from mentors in general that I don't know what stands out as the best, but probably the best is if you don't market and promote yourself, nobody else will. So you can't be shy about marketing yourself, and there's no shame in marketing yourself. So that was very important advice that I got.
What are your 3 most influential books and why?
3 most influential books. Again, I probably read about 200 books a year, and this is going on 15 years, 20 years. And so it's hard to pick out just a few books. I try to find something in every book I read that is massively influential. But, inspirational, I like, let's say the Tao Te Ching, or I enjoyed Robert Greene's Mastery. I reread my own book, Choose Yourself. Sometimes I read my own book and I can't even believe that I wrote that. Like, I can't remember writing it. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. And so
who is this guy?
Yeah.
You're like, I want to meet this guy. This guy's a really smart guy. I do that same thing sometimes when I'm looking through my own blog. Just, I can't believe I wrote that.
Because, there are no real original ideas. And so I think to myself, when I read what I wrote, I'm like, boy, what was I reading that day? Because I must have been reading something interesting to have these good ideas that I wrote about.
That's hilarious. And for all the listeners, I know how much you guys love audio. I partnered with audible.com, an Amazon audiobook company, and you guys can actually pick up The Tao Te Ching, which is a book on the art of living. And it's about living a generous, spiritual, balanced life. It's full of wisdom. And Robert Greene's Mastery is a book on mastering a skill. It's about discovering yourself and what you were meant to do. It's really a book on finding out what it is that you want to do for the rest of your life. And you can pick up one of these books for free if you go to kfmbook.com. That's right. Just get a free book, sign up for the trial at Audible, and get a free audiobook. I love audio. It's great in the gym. It's great on the go. And you're always learning. I'm always about that Kaizen. Kaizen is continuous improvement every day, all the time. kfmbook.com. And I actually just had Robert Greene on the show in about November. We talked about mastery and discovering yourself. It's a really great episode, episode 3.
Yeah, I like Robert Greene.
He is a great author. He is a Yoda. And moving on, what's one action one person can take right now that would get them closer towards their dreams?
Make sure you sleep more than 8 hours a day, every day. So as mundane as that seems, people ignore it, and sleep hygiene, does everything from increases metabolism to builds new brain cells. So it just in general good for you.
James, I got a scenario for you. Imagine you woke up and you were 22. You just graduated college. What would you do? How would you do life differently?
I would not go to graduate school. I would discontinue any form of formal education because all of that is a complete waste of time. High school, college, and graduate school are total waste of time. Could be a whole topic of another podcast because many people disagree with that, but I have proof of it at every level, and I am walking proof of it at every level. But I would discontinue any formal education. And particularly for the time when I was 20, I would start learning how to program much earlier. And I don't know, I would learn more about business too. Like back then, I started a business building websites, and just to help me, I would build all these software tools that I wouldn't even think twice about that actually other people were building and IPOing with. And I was just they were just the toys in my sandbox. I could have built entire businesses around them, and I never did that. So always be aware of what you're doing and what kind of businesses and services you can offer other than the basic services that you think you're offering.
Wait, did you say no high school? I'm familiar with no higher education, like no grad school. That's pretty common. I've been hearing that go around, but no high school, you got to explain right now.
Yeah, no high school and no junior high school, no elementary school is fine.
Okay, and no middle school now? Okay, we're going to pause the knowledge round for just a second, and the floor is yours. You got to explain all this.
Well, basically, think about a young child who's 16 years old. Give them two choices. What's better for them? Should they sit from 8 a.m. in the morning till 4 p.m. in the afternoon, listening to stuff that they never remember when their adrenaline is just rushing? They want to run around. They want to be creative. They want to learn things. They want to do things. We already know, as statistical proof, they're not going to remember anything 45 minutes after their class. Nobody remembers anything 45 minutes after a boring class, and almost all high school teachers are bad. So basically, from the age of 14 to the age of 24, the age when the brain is growing the fastest, kids are being trapped into a straitjacket of conformity, and they're being taken out of the system right when they should be producing in the system.
Okay, so you're suggesting these students at a young age really find out what it is that they want to do and be more creative and put all that energy and passion into one area they really want?
Yeah, instead of taking 6 classes on boring subjects, just simply list 6 things that you'd like to get better at and do those things while you're in high school. Now, people might say, oh, well, not every kid's motivated. Well, if they're not motivated, they're not going to get anything out of high school anyway. So I always ask this when I'm giving talks. Can anyone tell me when Charlemagne was born? Now, we all learned in high school when Charlemagne was born, and we've all had that question on a test, and we've all answered it. But nobody could even answer within 500 years of and tell me when Charlemagne was born. Heck, I just answered it for myself on the audiobook for Choose Yourself, and you know what? I was wrong, and I had just looked it up. So, and if you ask me right now, I could tell you within 500 years because I roughly know now, but I couldn't tell you the exact year anymore.
Okay, I have a better idea of what you're talking about with the whole education thing, and you want students to find out what they want to do and pursue those things at a young age. So as they grow up, they're really skilled at those things. And now back to the knowledge round. What's your philosophy on life?
Well, I think I've said it. I don't want to be repeating the same news three times now. So I think I've repeated it a lot.
The daily practice is number one.
Yes, that's the only thing.
So do you recommend the daily practice to anyone that's asking you for help? Do you kind of look at which area of the daily practice they're missing in their life, whether that's health, physical, spiritual, mental?
Yes, but I do it in the context of I never give advice because nobody's ever going to directly follow advice. Like you ever have that friend who comes up to you and says, "Man, my girlfriend was cheating on me. What should I do?" And you say, "Dude, you got to just break up with her." And then a week later, he's still with her. 2 weeks later, he's still with her. And then a month later, he says, "Man, she's still cheating on me." And you say, "I already told you, break up with her." But he never listens to you. So nobody actually listens to advice. So I simply say, this is what worked for me. You could try it or not. This is what's worked for me.
Okay, James, you've built 20 companies and written 11 books. This is quite an achievement in itself. What keeps you going? How do you stay motivated?
If I was just doing one thing and I relied on that one thing to pay for my family and my retirement and my future and everything, then I would be scared. So the key is to diversify what you love and diversify doing the things that you love. So Ernest Hemingway once said, "I will always stop writing in the middle of a sentence." So this way, when he wakes up in the morning the next day, he's excited to continue the sentence. So for me, I have many sentences being written in diverse outlets. And that's how I stay. I don't care if any one sentence doesn't work out. I'm always excited to at least continue some of them. And I'm not that worried that all of them are going to fail because I'm diverse. Yeah, business ventures or things that I'm writing or things that I'm invested in or things that I'm on the board of or businesses that I'm advising where I'm getting paid, anything. I have like 10 different businesses going on.
All right, James. And as we're coming to a close, can you give the audience any parting piece of guidance?
I would say the most important thing is to realize that all of the beliefs that you've been taught in school, that you've been taught by society, by your parents, by your peers, by your institutions like the government and so on, all of these things are probably wrong. And again, it's because not for bad reasons, it's because everyone has been acting out of their self-interest. So you have to choose yourself to succeed. Nobody else is going to choose you for you. And the way you choose yourself again is by doing this daily practice. That's how you get yourself ready to choose yourself.
You have to believe in yourself. 100%. You have to believe in you. You can't wait for your boss to promote you. You have to promote yourself. You can't wait for the perfect business opportunity to come along your way. You have to create that opportunity. Don't wait for someone to choose you to be successful. You have to do that yourself and start taking massive action towards the life you want. Stop waiting and start doing. And now, James, what's exciting you today? What are you currently working on?
Well, I just finished a book called, and I did this book with my wife, Claudia, and the book is called The Power of No, and it's how you get better able to say no in your life and the important things in your life. And I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited, as usual, about my blog at jamesaltucher.com. I'm excited about the different businesses I'm involved in. And in general, I'm excited about everything happening in my life.
James, you sound like a happy guy with a bright future ahead of you. And I was just about to say, give yourself a plug, but it sounds like...
Yes. Buy Choose Yourself. I still think that's the book people should buy for Christmas.
I'll be sure to put Choose Yourself in the show notes. And yeah, I've actually read the book myself. It's a fantastic book, Choose Yourself by James Altucher. And James, do you want to plug yourself for any of your social media links?
Well, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at jaltucher. Every Thursday, I do a Q&A from 3:30 to 4:30, and I've been doing that for 3.5 years. I've missed only maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And then go to jamesaltucher.com. It's free, and I tend to write there. I have an email list, which is free. You could sign up. I write more articles on the email list than on the blog. And that's it.
James, thank you so much for being on the show. You've given the listeners such invaluable wisdom. I can't wait to put all this into action. Thank you so much, James.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up episode 16. Before you head out, be sure to check out knowledgeformen.com. That's knowledge, FOR, men.com. We've got a ton of free content on dating advice, relationship advice, building a business advice, finding your passion advice, discovering yourself. It's great content, especially for 2014. We're all here setting our goals, listening to this personal development podcast, and we all just want to make 2014 what I've been calling the year of the crush. And what does that mean? It means this year we're going to crush it like no other year before. We're going to make 2014 our best year ever. So join Knowledge for Men in the year of the crush, where we're just going to crush it, literally just crush it in our health, get in the best shape of our lives, in our wealth, building businesses that we love, building businesses more profitable than the year before, building a career that we love to do, and just doing something we're passionate about, getting the relationships we want, improving our dating lives, improving our love lives, and just really loving life. Every day, wake up like it's Christmas morning when you were 10 years old, and that feeling you have every day is what the year of the crush is all about. It's just loving life to the fullest, being present, and just going after your dreams and making it happen. That's what this is about, the year of the crush. Tune in to all the episodes. We launch them Monday morning. Wednesday morning, check out knowledgeformen.com for all the latest blog articles that I write. All right, guys, until next time, let's crush life. Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast show. It's been a pleasure having you be a part of a thriving community of men who want to crush it in all aspects of life. I'm on a mission here to inspire millions of guys, and with your help, we're going to make a dent in the universe. Check out knowledgeformen.com for a ton of free content that's designed to help you live a remarkable life. Again, that's knowledgeformen.com. I hope to see you there. And always remember, 2014 is the official year of the crush, where we take action to get the life we've always dreamed of. This is your host, Andrew Farabee, and until next time, let's do it.